Hello. Welcome to my channel. Hope you are doing good. In our previous video, we have discussed program development process. Moving forward, we are going to discuss algorithm and flowcharts in this video. Both these are done in pre-implementation phase. Algorithm and flowchart are two types of tools to explain the process or flow of a program. Now question arises that what these both are. We have discussed briefly about algorithm in our first video and also practiced by writing algorithm of making a cup of tea. Okay, let's discuss algorithm in detail now. We represent our solution to problem in form of an algorithm. An algorithm is a precise list of instructions that determine what operations to perform on what pieces of data, in what order. Starting from an initial state, the instructions describe a computation that proceeds through a well-defined series of successive states, eventually terminating in a final ending state. Algorithms are only as good as the instructions given, however, and the result will be incorrect if the algorithm is not properly defined. Algorithms are usually written in natural language. It is mostly written in form of simple English statements, which explains steps of our solution. Natural language expressions of algorithms tend to be ambiguous, and are rarely used for complex or technical algorithms. Flowcharts are structured ways to express algorithms that avoid many of the ambiguities common in natural language statements, while remaining independent of a particular implementation language. So, flowchart is most preferred and convenient way to note down our solution on a paper before writing it in form of code in any programming language. A flowchart is basically a type of diagram that represents an algorithm or process, showing the steps as boxes of various kinds, which we are going to discuss in detail, and their order by connecting these with arrows. This diagrammatic representation can give a step-by-step solution to a given problem. Process operations are represented in these boxes, and arrows connecting them represent flow of control. There are different symbols used to represent different types of operations in flowchart. Look at this round oval shape. This shape tells you where the flowchart begins and ends. It shows the entry point of your flowchart and the exit point. To designate the start of your flowchart, you would fill this shape with words like start or begin. To designate the end of your flowchart, you would fill this shape with words like stop or end. This is usually placed at beginning and end of every flowchart. You read a flowchart by following the lines with arrows from shape to shape. The lines with arrows determine the flow through the chart. Flowcharts are usually drawn from top to bottom or left to right. If two lines cross, you ignore the perpendicular line and continue following the line to the next shape. If there may be confusion as to the path, you can insert a bridge or crossover, which is a little bump on crossed lines, as in the shapes below, at the right side. This is to keep our flowchart tidy and clean, so that it is easy to understand and is not difficult to find the flow of process. Now, look at the rectangular box in the picture. Rectangle is the most common shape used in flowchart. It is used to show a process, task, action, or operation. It shows something that has to be done or an action that has to be taken. The text in the rectangle almost always includes a verb. For example, send the order. This parallelogram shape is used to show input or output. Examples of input are receiving a report, getting an email, getting an order, receiving data in some format, etc. Examples of output are generating a report, sending an email, faxing a message, etc. Words like display and print are used for output, and words like get or read are used for input. The shapes that we have discussed till now are most commonly used in a flowchart with a simple flow. When our solution is structured and we have only one flow direction at each point, but there are times when our solution does not only have one choice, we have to make some decision on the basis of some question. As, if this happens, then we will do this, otherwise, we will do this. In this case, a decision box, as shown on the screen, is used. A decision asks a question. The answer to the question determines which arrow you follow out of the decision shape. For example, in the shape on screen, if it is cloudy, you follow the arrow down near the word yes. If it is not cloudy, you follow the arrow to the right near the word no. Decision box always have one entry arrow and 2 or 3 exiting arrows from it, like in picture, one control line for yes and one for no is coming out of decision box. There are times when flowchart is drawn on more than one pages. If you need to connect to another page or another section of the chart, and can't draw a line, you can use a circle. You draw the line to the circle and label the circle with a letter. Then you place a copy of the circle where you want the flow to continue. Originally, the circle was used only to reference another part of the chart, and the off-page connector, shown on screen, was used to go to another page. However, the circle is now often used for both. The shape shown on the screen now is called the subroutine module shape. Subroutines are portions of code that run and return the execution point to the calling function. This allows you to write one subroutine and call it as often as you like from anywhere in the code. Subroutines make the code smaller and easier to test. This increases reusability in our program. Okay, now putting all these shapes together, a complete flowchart looks like the one shown on the screen, as it is beginning from the start symbol and ending on the stop shape. This flowchart is for the problem statement, which reads know of working hours and pay rate and calculates and display the gross pay of an employee. So after start, it is displaying a message asking to enter hours, an employee is working. After that it reads hours, same is the case for inputting pay rate, then in rectangular box it is going to process these hours and pay rate to calculate salary, and at the end it displays gross pay, and then flowchart ends. Hope you got the idea of putting these symbols together to form a solution. You can clearly see and picture all the symbols according to their use we have discussed earlier. Look at these guidelines which you must keep in mind to make an error-free flowchart. The flowchart should be clear, neat and easy to follow. There should not be any room for ambiguity in understanding the flowchart. The usual direction of the flow of a procedure or system is from left to right or top to bottom. Only one flow line should come out from a process symbol. Only one flow line should enter a decision symbol, but 2 or 3 flow lines, one for each possible answer, should leave the decision symbol. Only one flow line is used in conjunction with terminal symbol. Write within standard flowchart symbols briefly. If the flowchart becomes complex, it is better to use connector symbols to reduce the number of flow lines. Avoid the intersection of flow lines if you want to make it more effective and better way of communication. Ensure that the flowchart has a logical start and finish. Let's do a practice activity now. Read the problem statement from the screen. Take a pen and paper. Pause the video and write down both algorithm and flowchart for the statement given, keeping in mind all the aspects we have discussed in this video. Hope you are done with writing down algorithm and flowchart. Now have a look at the solution algorithm and flowchart. Hope you have got the idea. In the next video, we will start a bit of writing down C++ program. You are recommended to download any C++ IDE-on-U system, like Div C++ or Visual Studio. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in comments section. If you have not subscribed the channel yet, do subscribe.